Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, the latest attempt at a live-action film rendition of the Resident Evil series. As you've seen previously on this channel, you probably haven't, but you're more than welcome to check through my archive of videos. You will find that I have gone through the first 6 Resident Evil live-action films by Mr. Anderson in great excruciating detail. And they're mess. A lot of them, most of them are terrible. The first one's very passable. I've gone through it all. I'm not going to go through that again. But this is the latest attempt, and it's by pretty much the same companies. As we look at the back, we can see Constantine Films, we can see Screen Gems, we see Sony. It's the same companies, the same people are coming back to make this again. They're trying again to make it. And from the research that I've done on these films and their attempts at making it before, how I've told you the story about how George Romero was going to direct the first Resident Evil film, and that he was looking through gameplay videos of the first Resident Evil game so that he could make a story that felt like it would come from that video game world, and he was going to make a couple major changes, like how Chris Redfield was going to be a farmer. Well, that idea seems to have been utilized very slightly. Chris Redfield's still not a farmer, though. But they've brought that storyline back, and they've combined it with the other 2 games, the whole Raccoon City Arc. I'm just going to call it the Raccoon City Arc. The Raccoon City Arc takes place over the course of the first 3 video games, main games. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. Basically, the raid in the Spencer Mansion and the whole Raccoon City outbreak leading up to the destruction of Raccoon City. A lot of events have been cut, a lot of it has been cut, and a lot of characters' motivations and their designs have been changed, if you haven't noticed. I'm going to be talking about the character design choices and my dislike for a fair bit of them, because I am a very big stickler for keeping to established design choices. Because it just makes sense to do that. If you shouldn't just go taking an established character's design and completely remodeling it for your if you're trying to put something in this universe, okay? It makes sense for something like comics. You're making your own comic. I'm not getting into that can of worms. I'm not going to get into that can of worms. I'm not going to get into that can of worms. Welcome to Raccoon City covers the first 3 games, but they leave a fair bit out, such as the Nemesis program. He's not here. Mr. X, he's not here. Who is here? Well, the main 5 characters on the cover. We have Claire Redfield, Chris Redfield, Albert Wesker, Leon Kennedy, and Jill Valentine. Some of these characters work. 2 of them in particular work really, really well in terms of, like, characters and personality, and 2 of them look really, really well. And 2 of them look... no, they don't look good at all. Let's start with Chris Redfield here. This is Chris Redfield. He's not a major character in this film. The film focuses primarily on Claire Redfield. If you hadn't noticed, she takes up the most space on the cover. That makes sense. She is the main focus of this film. She is the main character. We also see a lot of screen time with Leon here. You'd almost like to argue that these 2 are the main characters. But then we also have these 3 from the STARS team. They end up getting the B plot, which is sad, because the B plot was the first game! Chris Redfield. I'd say his design is the best out of all of them. I have here Resident Evil Vendetta to show you. This is the only CG film that Chris Redfield starred in. That's him right here. There's Leon, and that's Rebecca. We haven't seen her since Resident Evil 0. So that's actually pretty cool to see them come back. If you haven't realized that this exists, there's actually 4 CG films. One of them's a mini-series, but I call it a film because it's cut like a film. We have Infinite Darkness, Damnation, and Degeneration. if we're talking about continuity, all four of the CG films are canon here. This one takes place after Resident Evil 4, almost directly after Resident Evil 4. Leon has come back from his mission, and he's assigned to something that Claire happens to be roped up in as well. This takes place after Resident Evil 5, or during Resident Evil 5, I'm not entirely too sure, but while Chris is busy doing his mission in Resident Evil 5, Leon got dispatched to do whatever's in this film. Ada's here, and he's roped up in a civil war, and this is the rebel leader of that civil war. And there's a bunch of liquors in here, too. It's a really good film. And then we have Infinite Darkness. This came out roughly around the same time as this, believe it or not. This is the canon one, though. This takes place after Degeneration, sometime after the president has become aware of Leon as a person. The president's very grateful to Leon for having saved his daughter. We see a lot of that going on. The president has assigned Leon to a team to take care of some mission that's going on, and Claire's also here as well. And she's basically playing a reporter type of character. She's trying to expose some corrupt companies, a lot like what she's doing in here. And then we have Vendetta here. Vendetta takes place after Resident Evil 6. And in regards to Leon's presence, this is his latest canon appearance in the franchise. He's not in Resident Evil 7 or 8. Chris shows up in 8. And I think he's also in 7 for some DLC things. But Leon, this is his latest. Leon seems to be the poster boy of the CG series, but I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to make videos about these in the future. Not immediately, but later on. The reason why I have these to show you is a frame of reference here. I love the design for Chris. I love the character choice, the actor choice for Chris Rickfield here, because if you could see this takes place about roughly 15 to 20 years after Resident Evil 1. So, when you look at this design, this person here, this face looks like he could physically age 15 to 20 years into this face. He looks like Chris Redfield. It's very believable that this could be Chris Redfield. It's perfect. It's spot on. I love it. Then we have Claire Redfield. Claire Redfield, the latest I can show you is right there. So let's take a look at that one here. We have the trademark red leather jacket, and she's wearing black on here, but that's fine. It's the jacket that you want to see, and she's wearing it. The hair is kind of like it has a little red flare to it, but it's more brownish in this than it is in the canon appearances of Claire, but that's forgivable. Her hair's longer here. We don't see her tie it up in a ponytail or whatever. We don't see the bangs show up like this. It might show up in a future installment, because this definitely looks like it might have a sequel. It might make a series out of these. This was definitely their attempt at trying to do that. They're going to make a new series of films for the Resident Evil series. And maybe she will grow into this appearance with the whole hairstyle like that. But otherwise, she is good. Personality-wise, she is also very good. Her character matches what the character in the Resident Evil series tends to do. She investigates things. She's trying to expose things. She's really good. I really like the Redfield siblings in this. They kind of changed their origins around a little bit. They're orphans who were raised by Umbrella and all that other stuff, but I don't want to get into too much of that. There's way too much lore to dip into for this video, and I don't want to make a 40 to 50 minute video about this. The next character that we could talk about is Leon. That's Leon. If you didn't recognize him, I don't blame you. His earlier appearance here can definitely confuse you. That's Leon right there. That's Leon. That's how he's looked. This is the engine from the Resident Evil 4 engine, the CG and all that stuff. That's how Leon looks. And then eventually they made him into that. He aged eventually into this. And we're gonna go off his Vendetta appearance here. Because, well, if we look at the latest here with, Infinite Darkness, it kind of looks the same. This takes place right after Resident Evil 4, right after Degeneration, so it is closer in age to this appearance, but the animation company is different across these two. So, in regards to animation style, we're gonna go for this one here. The hair is blacker here. Leon's usually goes from blonde to brown to black. It depends. It depends on the lighting and the animation for him. But from this, I could see this person turning into this design. He's the rookie cop here, and he's very rookie-ish. His character's very enjoyable, all of that. My biggest problem here is his hair. His hair is... No. No. His hair's supposed to be his trademark. It's his trademark. It's his trademark. It's his trademark. Even Resident Evil Retribution tried to give the character they got to play Leon to have that hairstyle. They realized that hairstyle was Leon's character. That was his design. This hairstyle is messy. It's bed hair. It's curly-ish. It's not combed. It's not him. It's not Leon. His design really aggravates me. It really aggravates me. The actor choice, I don't care. I don't care about that. That's fine. The facial structure's fine. If we look at Vendetta here, we can see that the nose, it kind of looks around, that the jawline works, the fuzz of the hair, that works, the eyes, they can look good if he starts to grimace and all that stuff. The mouth is fine, the chin area, that's fine, the face is fine, it's a little bit darker, but I can get behind that. You just need to give him the hairstyle. Give him the hairstyle. He needs that hairstyle, okay? That's Leon's look. That's his look. It's the hair and the jacket, okay? After his rookie cop days, you gotta give it to him, alright? I could forgive it for this film, but his next canon appearance in the film series, you gotta give him either the jacket or the hair or both. Particularly the hair. He's gotta get that hair, man. You gotta give him that hairstyle. That's his look. That's Leon's look. You don't do that to him. That's what you gotta give him. What else do we have here? We have Jill Valentine. Jill hasn't appeared in any of these CG films, so I have no frame of reference for you for that. I do not have a copy of Resident Evil 5 that has Jill Valentine's appearance on it. Jill Valentine is sadly very underutilized in the Resident Evil series. It's like her last appearance was in Resident Evil 5, and then she's gone. That's it for her. You don't see anything else from her again at all. But what I can tell you is, I don't care about the facial structure again. The face for Jill Valentine's actor choice is fine. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the skin tone. I have no problem with any of that. It's, once again, the hair. It's the hair. Jill Valentine's hair is not curly. It's not like that. It doesn't look like that. Jill Valentine's hair is not like this, okay? It's a very, very vain. It's very vain. I'm being incredibly vain and petty here, and I fully accept that. But the hair was very grating to me. I was just zeroing in on it. I was zeroing in on that hairstyle, and it just did not work for her. It did not work for Jill Valentine. I've seen this person with combed and straight hair, and that's what I would rather have seen for the Jill Valentine costume choice. That's what I would rather have seen, okay? And as for her character, she doesn't really have one. She was part of the B-plot, same with Chris Redfield here, but at least Chris had more to do than Jill Valentine did. All Jill Valentine does is run around, be part of the team. She makes the Jill sandwich joke herself, because there's no Barry Burton. There's no Barry Burton. There's no... So she doesn't have too much to do. She doesn't have too much banter that she can banter with. The only form of character that she gave her is that she is attracted to Wesker. That's it. That's all she's got. She's got a history with Wesker, and Chris likes Jill. That's it. It's the little love triangle between the B team, alright? And that kind of is aggravating. It's a little aggravating. It's a little aggravating that they did Jill like this. They really should have fixed that up. Give her a different hairstyle, better hairstyle, one that coincides with the games, and give her a character. Give her Barry Burton, man. Pair her up with Barry Burton and have those two have their party banter. That worked, man. This doesn't work as well. And now we finally come to Albert Wesker, played by my man Billy Bones. If you don't know what that means, then you need to watch Black Sails. It's 4 seasons of one of the greatest pirate shows that has ever been created. I believe it's from Starz. You could probably find it on some streaming somewhere, whatever. But he played Billy Bones in that. And now he's here playing Albert Wesker. And I have never seen a more severe miscast ever. I have never seen a miscasting so powerful. His personality doesn't fit Wesker. His demeanor doesn't fit Wesker. There's no shades for Wesker. There's no... The outfit's fine. It's just, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Wesker's character is where the story deviates from the games the largest. It deviates the hardest here. Leon's perfectly cast from the games. Claire works the best there. Chris and Jill are there. But here, Wesker is basically contacted by a group that wants him to recover the G-Virus before the Raccoon City gets blown up. That's his job. He finds the G-Virus and he gets to get excavated out of the city before the city blows up. So that's what he's planning to do. But it kind of falls apart a little bit. Once the team makes it to the Spencer Mansion, there's 4 people, okay? There's Chris, Jill, Wesker, and some 4th guy, who is called Richard. This character, Richard, is paired with Chris, while Jill and Wesker are paired up to go exploring their own set of the mansion. And if you are getting angry, like I am, you would realize that this character, Richard, who is not on the cover here, dies immediately, has no personality, exists only to be killed. You could have replaced Richard with Barry Burton and paired him with Jill, and have these two paired up and have Wesker betray the protege. It would have worked better. It would have worked better. I have no idea, no clue why they didn't have Barry Burton in this movie. There's no reason not to put him in here. None at all. He was part of the Starz team. You could have had him as part of the 4-man team, have him paired with Jill, have them have their little banter going off, and have Chris and Wesker have the protege, the mentor type of dynamic. And when Wesker betrays Chris, it feels all that more powerful and all that crap. But the way it happened here, the Spencer Mansion felt like the B plot. It was the B plot. It was the thing that started this whole series, and it's treated as a B plot. We barely get as much time there in comparison to what we see in Raccoon City with Leon's segment and Claire's segment. We have 3 segments to this story. Leon's segment at the RCPD place, the Raccoon City Police Department, the Starz B plot at the Spencer Mansion, and then Claire's stuff. That we see mostly these 2 plot lines. The Leon stuff and the Claire stuff stuck at the Raccoon City, and their plot lines eventually converge where these 2 meet up, and then they end up going to meet up with the B team. But the B team... Let me show you the runtime. The runtime is... You can't see it, but it's approximately 107 minutes. This film needed at least 30 minutes more runtime. It did. It needed at least 30 minutes more runtime. You needed to dedicate more time to the Spencer Mansion. The Raccoon City segment with Leon and all that stuff, that's fine. That's fine. The segments with Claire, that's fine. It's fine. But you needed to dedicate more time to the Starz team. You needed to add Barry Burton. Get rid of this Richard guy. You needed to do that B team better, instead of just being the B team. Because that's what this feels like. These guys feel like the B team. They get the least amount of character development. He just has a random face turn and turns bad guy, whatever. And then these guys just join up with these 2 and they get out of Raccoon City. They have no character. They're just there to be the STARS members. I suppose Chris has some form of character. He is the one who believes in Birkin. He was the one who believes in Umbrella. He believes that they're not corrupt and evil like Claire Redfield believes. So when he finds out that Birkin is evil, he turns on Birkin, and he's the one that kills Birkin. So I guess that works. I guess that's fine for him. It's not like Chris Redfield had any form of personality in the games either. Just play Resident Evil 5 and 6 and you'll find out that. So he's fine. You might even say that Jill Valentine's fine. Outside of her hair. Fix that, please, please, fix the hair, please, 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 please. Curly hair does not work on Jill Valentine. It doesn't work on Jill Valentine. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It will never work. Comb it. Comb it. And give him, and give my boy here, give him Leon's hairstyle. Do that, please, please, please do that. And give him the leather jacket. He needs the leather jacket. Wesker gets his sunglasses because he's whisked away from Raccoon City. He's revived through some strange means by Ada Wong. Ada Wong is in this film for the post-credits scene. There's a post-credits scene. That's crazy. But it's trying to hint that there's going to be a sequel, and Ada Wong's there. And she has saved Wesker's life, and Wesker can't see for some reason. And he puts on some shades, and suddenly he can see again. Billy Bones with Wesker's shades kind of looks like the character. He needs to grow his hair out just a tad bit, just a little bit. It's got to be a little blonde. I can see he's got a little bit of blonde in his hair. Let him grow it out a little bit, and give him the shades, and I can see him having Wesker's design from, say, Resident Evil 5. I could see him pulling that off. I could see this working. I guess the personality that he was showing when he was part of the STARS team was some sort of act. I guess it was some sort of act. He's playing an actor. But he's making jokes, he's taking pot shots at the other characters, he's being a jock. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work for this character. At least to me, in my opinion, it didn't work, okay? The best parts of the film were Leon and Clara. Leon's hair constantly bothered me, but I was able to get over it. But please give him that hairstyle, please. Oh my god. I love this character. He was perfectly fine. There's a lot of comedic moments. He's got a lot of rookie stuff. But he misfires a gun. He figured he couldn't get the safety. Oh gosh, there's so much wrong with him. It's like his first day here. The first day and the city's blowing up. Oh gosh. But he gets better. By the time of Vendetta, he is pure badass mode, okay? He gets all the training, he becomes perfect, man. But it's good. I will tell you this much in closing for this video. I will tell you this much. This film is superior to all 6 of Mr. Anderson's live-action Resident Evil films. All 6 of them. This beats it out of the park. It destroys all 6 of them. It is better than all of them. This is the greatest and best live-action Resident Evil film you're going to get. Until they remake it and maybe make it better. But until that day happens, this is the best one. If you're going to watch the other ones for the cheese, for the laughter and all that stuff, I enjoy them for that reason too. But if you want the best one that's the closest to the games that you're going to get, this is it. This is it. But I will say this. This is inferior to the CG films. It's not as good as Vendetta. It's not as good as Damnation. It's not as good as Infinite Darkness. And it is not as good as Degeneration. At least to me, okay? I'm not trying to be a canon purist, because while these are canon to the series and this is not, it's just, these are more cohesive stories, and I guess the reason why that worked is because they had the people who worked on the games working on the story for this. I guess that's why it worked. It's just more in-house than this one was. That's just why these work better for me. That's why the CG films are superior to the live-action one. But for what they had, they could have done a whole lot worse. They could have done a whole lot worse. This worked. This worked. But it could have been a whole lot better. It could have been a whole lot worse, and it could have been a whole lot better. And that's why I'm griping on this. That's why I'm ranting on this. Is because this could have been so much better. It could have been amazing. This could have been the greatest Resident Evil film that we could have ever gotten. Add 30 to 40 minutes. Add an extra hour, man. Make this a whole 2 to 3 hour epic, man. 2.5 hour epic, man. Add Mr. X or Nemesis, one or the other. You don't need both of them, just add one of them. Add Barry Burton. Barry Burton needs to be in here. Fix the hair for these two people. You could have made this the greatest film the live-action films have ever received. And while this is still the greatest film the live-action films have ever received, it is not better than the CG films. But this had the potential to be better than the CG films. This had the potential to be the best Resident Evil film that has ever been made up to this point. They just didn't stick the landing as much as I really wished that they did. It's still a very good time, and I recommend that you watch it, because this is what Resident Evil should have been when it was first released in the early 2000s. This is the movie we should have gotten back then, instead of the Mila Jovovich one. This is the one that we should have gotten, okay? This is it. Watch it. Enjoy it. Get gripey for the hair. But it's good. It's fine. I love it. Be imaginative, everybody.